Hi guys, my name is Rob from Vision PD. Welcome to our channel. In this video, we're going to be finishing flat 12. Or looking into the future, how's it going to look in the end? Is it going to look awesome? Yes, it is. Naturally, we're going to be starting with the decorating. Going to be having a go with this bare plaster paint. God, this is heavier than it's supposed to be. See how that works out. Suppose we better get started. So I tried cutting the is it cornice or coving? Coving. I'm going to call it coving and I'm going to check. So I tried cutting the coving on my chop saw because I feel like you can get a more accurate cut on it, but the size of this is a little too large for the chop saw that I've got. So what I did instead was made up this miter box. Tried buying one, but turns out it's pretty difficult to find one that fits or that's big enough for this. So I've cut 45-degree angles, a plus angle and a minus angle, just in case you need a bit of flexibility in the cuts. And I made it so it fits the cornice as perfectly as I could make a template. Numbers like this always make sense to the people who made it, but probably made no sense to anybody else looking at it. Worked out all right in the end. So we don't need the base units yet, but I'm concerned about the pinch point between the edge of the breakfast bar and this corner here. So I thought if I set these units where I think the breakfast bar should go, and then they don't get in my way whilst I'm moving around with construction bits, then hopefully it'll be enough space for people when they move in the end. Picked up the splashback tiles this morning from Tile Choice. The reason I've got them now rather than later on is because I really want to make sure that I set the kitchen to the right height so we don't have any cut edges on the top or the bottom. And I'm going to apply them before I fitted the worktop or any of the kitchen bases so that we can then sit the bottom of the worktop right up tight against the edge of the tile. They're a matte finish, which I was a bit unsure about to start with, but they're actually more of a satin. They've got a lovely sheen on them. Oh, they look really nice. some of the things we've learned whilst decorating this flat is that this is a bare plaster specific paint. What that allows it to do is breathe if it's been applied recently, because it's going to be slightly moist. This is what we have used in the past, and it's okay, but it requires a few layers. And we've had to go with this one this time, which is the Albany Super Cover. and this is really good. We've applied just one coat on top of this, and I think it would be fine. We're going to apply two just to make sure it's really nice, but yeah, this, very impressed. Second thing is that I ordered this off the internet because of the COVID lockdowns, and this is the tester for the bedroom ceiling that we spoke about earlier. And this is a vinyl matte. I didn't consider that there would be a difference in colour. This one is a durable matte, and they're completely different shades. Turns out that I prefer the colour of the large pot we got, so that's good because we've used that. But yeah, you just want to keep that in mind if you're ordering off the internet. And the third thing we've learnt is the difference between cornice and coving. So cornice is the word for pretty much anything that you put up in the corners of the rooms, and coving is the word for it if it's uniform in profile, which this is not, so I suppose it's cornice. So I'm just measuring where to put these clips for the back of the wall units, and something important here is I'm going to be starting in this corner, but if the corner's not perfectly level vertically, and I can see here there's a few millimeters off, and I set the catch which is tight in the corner of the unit where it should be here, and we find that this corner leans inwards, it's going to prevent me from getting all of the wall cabinets nice and level all the way across. It's going to be forced, sort of forcing this corner out. So I've got the laser. Yeah, so actually, good news for us is that the top, which the catch is going to go, is actually where it'll be nice and tight. And then the bottom, there'll be a few millimeters gaps, which works pretty well for us. We can set this catch right in that corner. These have changed a little bit since I last installed the Howden's kitchen. They used to just screw on with screws, and as I've just discovered there, these have a hammer fixing on them. You have to hit them quite hard, but you see that one pops in there, and it spreads the foot at the bottom out into these pre-drilled holes so that you don't need any screws. I'm going to add them anyway because I like them pretty nice and secure, but quick and easy. Of all the jobs in the flat, the one you want to spend a little bit more time making sure you do a good job on is the bath or shower installation. And the goal isn't to prevent leaks, because at some point the sealer around the bottoms are going to split, the grout's going to crack. The goal is to make sure that when that does happen, the water gets back into the bath. And the way that we've done that, you've already seen us build the frame around the bottom, which is going to prevent the bath moving around and the sealer cracking before it will do naturally. Second thing we're going to do is put this tape all the way around the walls so that any water that leaks runs over this little lip back into the bath. Next, this tape goes over the top of that. And then finally, this tape goes in the corner, which is a pretty likely place for it to leak. And the reason that we do that last is so that when it does leak, it goes down and flows over the top of this, whereas if you put it on first, there'll be a little gap in the corner and that could leak down the bottom. Finally, we paint the whole wall in this tanking solution, making sure that nothing can soak in here. And then once that's all done, the whole shower is tanked and waterproofed. You can put your tiles on top and finally the silicone sealer around the bottom. Why am I painting the floor black, you ask? Well, it's bitumen paint, and when this building was built, it had about an inch layer of some kind of tar bitumen layer, which acts as a damp-proof course. And because it's quite an old building, and because tiles have been taken up in the past, I'd like to make sure it's still got its top layer intact. So I'm just giving it a quick coat of this, just to make sure that it's nice and waterproof. I'm sure you guys know this, but it's nice to have a little reminder every now and again. When visually lining something up with your eyeball rather than with laser levels or anything, obviously if it's flush like this and you're trying to line this level up with the edge of this, super easy because you just look at it. But if it's offset a little bit and you try and line something up like this, you can just kind of set it like that. It looks good enough to start with, but always make sure you get a third reference, because when you look back and line up another line further behind, you'll suddenly realize that what you thought was in line is actually off by enough to make a difference, especially with kitchens where the panel gaps are really obvious. This looked straight because my head, although was in line with this edge and this edge, as soon as you get the third point of reference, which is at the back, you realize that my head wasn't directly in line. So if you just get that third reference, line that up too, then you can get it pretty good with your eyeball without having to need lasers levels and things in a quick pinch. Through the mess. Sorry it's taken us a while to get the edit of this one finished. We filmed it about a year ago, but we had a baby and he decided he wanted all of our time instead of letting me edit videos at weekends. So that footage has been sitting around a while. Finally got a bit more time on our hands now, it's just over 1. So we'll be back on the footage from now on. We've also finished the first floor. People have moved in and I managed to film what they look like in the end. So in the next video, I'll take you around upstairs and show you what's going on the top floor, and we'll show you the footage of the completed flats that we've already sold. If this is the kind of content you like, subscribe and we'll see you in the next one.